Today's episode of the program we shall be focusing on the importance of domesticating farm implement. Yes, the economic importance of domesticating farm implement. By this I mean that why do we, what are the implications, the economic implications, monetary value tied to us implementing our own farm implements like the tractors and the rest of it. To discuss this on the program with me today is no other person, our economist, Mr. Agric. But before he comes on, we'll take a short break on what farm implements are. Stay tuned. By domesticating species, many groups of people have been able to build settled communities and transition from nomadic hunter-gathering lifestyle dependent on foraging and hunting for survival. For one, domestication in general and its most important domesticated crops and animals in particular such as wheat, rice, corn, barley, potatoes, sorghum, cattle, pigs and sheep are recognized to have evolved from wild plants and animals that were selected, gathered, and brought back to camp by hunters and farmers. Most common domesticated traits across different species include loss of dormancy, larger organ size, reduced speed reprisal and shattering, uniformity in growth, and change in day length sensitivity. This theory posits that the process of domestication involves four sequential parts or phases, which are appropriation, objectification, incorporation, and conversion. This in turn is also related with farm implements. Welcome back. Like I said earlier, our topic for this episode is going to be focused on the economic importance of domesticating farm implements, and to discuss this with us is Mr. Gabriel. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Over time, looking at the civilized nations, that Nigeria obviously, are towing the line of advanced agriculture with. We see that their farm implements are being one major, advantage to them being able to do industrial farming and the rest of it. Nigeria have over time, copied, let me use that word in quote, different nations when it comes to the use of farm implements. What we know traditionally here is the hoes and which takes so long and so much energy and manpower. But if you look at the bigger nations, the broader agricultural producing states, nations now, you see that they have implements like the tractors and so many different advanced way of farming. Now, to start with, of what importance are us having this advanced implements to the Nigerian agricultural economic sphere?
To go the way of other countries that have been very successful in agriculture, farm implements, especially the integrated and the advanced type computerized machinery, has really helped to improve output and also in planting and every other aspect of the agricultural value chain. So if it is very successful in other climes, then there is every possibility that it will be successful here as well if it is properly used and implemented. Farm implements that are used in the days of subsistence farming has always been hoe and cutlass, and that is why in Africa and Nigeria in particular in those days, a family tend to be very large because they need enough manpower to be able to till the ground, and the major implements are always the hoe and the cutlass. And we discovered that over time it takes a longer time to be able to till or to plant an acre of land, for example, or even much more than that. So the coming on board of machines and other farm implements, improved farm implements, has really helped to broaden the scope of farming, reduce turnaround time, and also improve farming practices in Nigeria. But looking at what we have presently, we discovered that for Nigeria to actually embrace the agricultural revolution that we want to achieve, we need more sophisticated farm implements, we need to cultivate more arable lands, and we need more hands and experienced engineers and technicians to be able to make this dream a reality. And that is where advanced farm implements come into play.
So of what connect is it with the economy?
Yes, if we have advanced farm implements that can cultivate the ground, ensure farming processes are seamless, we can also cover more grounds with advanced farm implements than with human beings. All human beings need to do is to direct the way for the farm implements, the machines and the rest to be able to do their work and also to bring out maximum output. Also, we discovered that the outputs are more tidy, they are more sequential when it's the uses of machine, and that is why the advantage that other climes have over African countries, because they have machines that at a go can sort out the chaff from the wheat and every other thing within a time frame where it will take time for handmade processes to be able to do that. So it's going to increase our agricultural output when we have advanced farm implements. It's going to increase the hectares per farm, and also it's going to improve whatever it is and make us competitive in most of our agricultural practices vis-a-vis other agricultural agrarian countries.
So looking at Nigeria as a nation now, we know that different administrations have come up in government and said advancing agriculture is the way. We've heard different slogans come. We've Operation Feed the Nation. We've had different, but then we still tend to rely on advancements when it comes to farm implements of the Western world.
Yes.
Why is this so?
I'll tell you categorically that the reason why our agriculture has not moved to the next level really is the over-reliance on foreign farm inputs. And also, if you look at some of these farm implements, a place like China, for example, most of the farm tools that are being used, computerized, machine-based, are adaptable to their environment. They are adaptable to their farming practices, and they are adaptable to the kind of crops they used to grow in those areas. So most of the countries that Nigeria is importing most of these farm implements from, apart from tractors and harvesters, planters and the rest, they are producing farm implements that are adaptable to their climate, that are adaptable to their farming practices, that are also adaptable to the way they want to go. So when some of these implements are brought into Nigeria, because of lack of technological know-how, because of the fact that they are coming from a different climate, some of them fail to perform as expected due to maybe environmental changes or climatic changes. Two, some of them fail to last because of technological and technical know-how of how those farming implements should be used. A farm implement that has been certified that can be used without replacement for 5 years might end up being used for 2 years here because we lack the technical know-how of how to use those implements. Some of these implements, because of climatic changes, might come into Nigeria and pack up after a while because they are not adaptable to the Nigerian environment or the climatic changes. So some of these things are what has made when you go to some farms, for example, you see tractors that have down tool that are not being used. You see farm implements that are out of use, but they have been there. They have not added value to the farming practice in those areas or to the farmlands. And this is a major problem that has not really allowed or helped us to be able to enjoy the benefits that we are supposed to enjoy. So these are some of the challenges that we face. And it's very, very important that we look at this so that we can be able to have farm implements that are adaptable to our environment and be able to do better.
Okay, so looking at some of these implements now, we've seen the federal government during this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's, has has signed an MOU with Jondo, saying that they're going to be bringing in, tractors to Nigeria for farmers to use.
Yes.
We've seen some rural areas where some farmers, some of these tractors that were once brought in have been abandoned.
Yes.
Where do we go from here so that we don't begin to have the same, the same occurrence?
Yes. Just like I said earlier, some of these imported farm implements are not adaptable to our climate, and that is why some of them break down or they don't stand the test of time of the usage, anticipated usage years. Now, if Nigeria needs to move forward in this area of farm implements, Nigeria have started producing vehicles, we have started producing other sophisticated automobile and stuff. Why can't we delve into production of some of these farm implements that are adaptable to our climate? When you go to trade fair, for example, you see some companies that have started producing locally made farm implements,
yes, like
the plows and the rest, and some of them are even advanced. Why can't Nigeria government, through the Ministry of Agric, partner these farm machine production companies and allow them to increase their capacity, so that instead of using up our foreign exchange for importation of these tractors and other farm implements, we can source them locally, produce locally, save foreign exchange, and also produce farm implements that are adaptable to our climate, which will help the farmers to be able to grow and speed up our agricultural revolution that we plan.
Okay, so quickly before we continue with the conversation, we'll go on a short break, go on return, and we're going to continue. Stay tuned.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria (ARCN) coordinates the activities of research institutes and is responsible for supervision, regulation, coordination of research activities and programs of higher institutions in Nigeria. I'm Professor Hamidu Shaributu since assumption as Executive Secretary of ARCN in April 2020 has solidified the transformation of agriculture in Nigeria through strategic and meaningful execution of research findings for improvement of the agricultural sector.
For grains, we have the parabolic solar dryers. These are specialized solar dryers used for drying agricultural produce such as whole grains, yam and cassava chips, fruits and vegetables more efficiently. It is made of a special material that concentrates the rays of the sun within the enclosure while eliminating harmful ultraviolet radiation. Products dried are free from contaminants and are hygienic.
The parabolic shaped solar dryer is a need-based technology because virtually when we travel all over the country, you will see by the roadside, you see people drying all sorts of agricultural produce. Some spread their own on bare ground, and by the time the vehicles are moving, the raised dust, the dust stay on the products. The reptiles will come, they will eat whatever they can eat, drop their feces and their urine on it, and the owner comes in the evening to pack everything together and still eat that product, and the product has been contaminated, and we feel this is not right, and it is part of our mandate to make sure that we set it right, and that was what led to this, so that we can solve this problem at the grassroots level. Instead of drying by the roadside, drying on just bare ground in their villages, when they have this as a drying center, everybody in the community can bring their product there, spread on the tray, and they get it dry under hygienic condition that is covered. And the dryer also have another property to screen the ultraviolet ray of the sun, which is also can cause hazard to human health.
Since then, Professor Shaributu has operated as visionary captain by restoring the council's glory with the first ever agricultural television and radio station in Nigeria, with well-equipped studios parading state-of-the-art equipment.
The Agricultural Research Council of Nigeria also has a brand new electronic library to further promote research and visualizations of deep thoughts on agricultural development in Nigeria.
The museum, located in the Senator Abdullahi Adamu Center, is an agricultural museum saddled with the responsibility of keeping records of agricultural findings, discoveries, researches for continuity and history purposes.
ARCN
Promoting agriculture.
Welcome back. The program is to Agric Economy on ARCN Television, Mabushi, Abuja, Nigeria. And we've been talking about the economic importance of domesticating farm implements. Yes. Looking at our soil, looking at the texture of our kind of food, looking at what we produce here, and the rest. It is quite very important that Nigeria as a nation is able to domesticate its own farm implements so that we have them last longer than what we have now. If you go to some areas, you see some tractors or some farm implements that have been packed and abandoned because sometimes they'll tell you and then they can't find the parts, or there's nobody to actually come and check it for them. So this is what brought us to the topic for today. If we domesticate these farm implements, of what advantage it would be for us as Nigerian and of course as agricultural producing nation. So now quickly we'll be looking at the federal government, and yesterday said it is ready to train well over 100 farmers on the use of tractor, and I want to believe the tractors are the proposed ones that are supposed to come in from the John companies, and of course those people that can actually privately get their own and use. What do you think about this government move?
Yes, the move of the government is a very good one in the sense that why most of these tractors break down and some of these farm implements break down is lack of adequate knowledge about their usage and operation. And that has been the bane of some of the tractors that have been imported in the past, because the operators, the farmers and the engineers are operating it do not really have adequate knowledge of care and maintenance that can increase the shelf life of this equipment, and that is why they don't last or stand the test of time, and we see them littered about in various farmlands and commercial farms. So this initiative of government, I believe, is a right step in conjunction with the Jandong company that is bringing the tractors. It will really help to equip the farmers and those that to use these tractors on how to best use them, maintain them, and ensure that they are used for a very long time. So if this initiative is sustained, most of the farm implements that are being imported, the farmers and those that are going to be in charge of usage of this implement needs to be adequately trained so that they will know what to do at every point in time, so that these implements will be put to maximum use without with little downtime, instead of the previous experiences that we have been having in various farmlands.
Looking at the specification of this implement, implements, are there any consequences aside the advantage of being able to gather some funds for the economy and increase the IGP? Are there some disadvantages, like an average European would say, with everything with an advantage has disadvantage? What do you think can be the disadvantage so that government can look at, even if at all they want to key into domestication of these implements, what they should look out for in doing that?
To me, one thing that could lead to a disadvantage is if we do not bridge the technology gap between Nigerians and other clients. Because we know that technology involves every minute, every second, every hour. So if we want to say, oh, we are producing some farm implements here, and we have used or we are adapting them to our local environment without looking at increment in knowledge and technology at every point in time, so that we can use them to be able to improve what we already have, then we will be at a disadvantage. So even as we advocate for domestication of some of these farm implements, it's also important that we are in tune with what best practices, what is happening as regards this equipment, even in other countries, the new technologies that are being implemented, the new things that are being used now to improve what is on ground, so that we will not just remain the way we are because we have decided to improve our technology. I give you an example. If you go to Cuba, for example, you will see vehicles that were used in 1978 and 1950s and 60s. They are the ones that they are still maintaining and they are still moving on their roads. This has disadvantages because, yes, they have improved on domestication of those vehicles for their use in the country, but because of various sanctions, they have not been able to improve with modern technology to bring in more advanced vehicles into the country to be able to meet up with other climes. And that is what happens when you see old vehicles like 1950 model, 1960 model in Cuba. If you domesticate tractors and the rest, farming equipment implements in Nigeria, without additional progress being made in the foreign sphere, we will remain the way we are with the specifications we have for a long number of years without improving on it. So that is why, even as much as most of these farming implements are going to be domesticated, then we should also be in tune with best practices and improvements that are happening around the world as regards agricultural equipments.
Okay, so far your advice now to Nigerians, we know that foreign investors will be coming in with solution-based for the sector to move, because we know that this present administration has said it and has hit the ground running in the area of agriculture. What are your words in getting these investors, especially when it comes to farming?
I believe that Nigerians and Nigerians farmers, I want to really speak with Nigerians that are interested in farming, that there is a whole lot that can still be done. There is a whole lot of opportunities in the agricultural space in Nigeria that has not been tapped so far. So the Nigerian that is interested in farming or existing farmers can partner with other like minds in other countries that are into farming or farm implements, to be able to bring those technology to Nigeria, so that it will be turned over time to homegrown, so that when those products are being produced in Nigeria, they can be able to take the maximum advantage. The investor or the farmer will get enough benefit from it, and the country will also be better for it. And at the end of the day, if Nigeria can be a hub for agricultural machine tools, we can export to other West African countries in the first instance, and the whole of Africa at a go. So it's possible for Nigeria to lead the line when it comes to agricultural implements that are being produced in Africa. It's very possible for us to have these homegrown products being made and even exported to countries like Benin, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire, and all those other places. So this is the time for investors in agriculture in Nigeria to partner with others abroad to bring this technology home, so that we can benefit from it, and also other African countries as well.
Thank you so much for coming on the program, sir. Yes, that's it on the program for this week. I hope you've been able to learn one or two from this episode. Farm implement is very important for farmers, hence the need for you to buy the correct tools you need for maximum, profit. Using that word now, profit. On that note, to say thank you for joining us. Join us again same time, same station next week. I am Khadija Uluwatoyin. I'm saying bye for now.